Hi, in this story, we have an MRO distributor to industry, really, who big chain, over 100 locations nationally, and they started off saying, "Okay, Bruce, we understand that at every branch there are five super profitable customers, there are five super important target accounts, and there are five super big losers." And we'll use our customer profitability ranking light, and we'll figure out those 555 guys for every branch and mail them a report. And we're just going to, keep doing this. And I talked to an annual meeting they had to all their branch managers and their sales management people, so they were sort of aware of the concept, and see what happens. And after about 5 to 7 months of sending out these reports, two locations started an investigation because these two locations shared one big account that was doing it was a $2.5 million contract, and the customer profitability rank report said they were losing $100,000. Well, they couldn't believe they were losing $100,000. I mean, they were doing it was all warehouse business. It was 18% of the margin, 18%, but that seems like a minimal, good enough margin percent to at least break even or make a little bit of money kind of thing. And so they sort of protested, and so some people from headquarters came down, did an audit look, and said, no, actually, you're losing $150,000 because all of the stock that you're having at these two warehouses that serve this big remote customer, it's basically de facto special stock. It's turning like molasses and nobody else could possibly buy it. But the big thing is the delivery cost, because we're giving them free freight. Your last stop, you got to go another 45 minutes and 38 minutes or whatever to get to the gates of this plant to deliver these small orders. So you're actually losing more. So the two branch managers and the regional manager said, what if this account went away? How much activity would be reduced? How would we lay that off? And what would that new business look like? So if in aggregate both of them are only doing 8 million in sales, they're going to drop to 5.5 million sales for two branches, which is a big ego hit. But based on resizing the business, they could actually make a little bit more money. So that gave them the courage. Having Plan B is a key rule of negotiation. Is your ability to negotiate is only as good as your next best alternative. If you have no next best alternative, you've got a pretty weak hand. But if you're really dying to do Plan B because it's just going to be really really good, then you can play hardball with the customer. So they decided to go out and sort of, play hardball. And they went out to the customer and said, look, we're losing our rear end here and this isn't working for us. And they said, well, sorry, we have a contract's a contract, and that's the way it's going to be. And they said, well, what we'll do is we're going to deliver. We don't have any service guarantee deliveries, so when you order stuff, we're just going to combine the orders and deliver half as often, twice as much, just for starters. And he said, yeah, but if you do that, that's going to cause downtime in my plant or issues that everybody's going to want in my head, and you can't do that. And they said, well, we're going to do it. And then finally the buyer said, all right, look, here's the real deal. I work for this monster corporation. This is just one facility, and I don't really kind of care. I got life, I got job security type of stuff, but for me to change the terms, I have to go out and do some sort of reverse electronic auction. This was all happened back in 2001, 2, 3, somewhere there, and electronic auctions were still sort of a fad. And he said, I don't even know how to do one. I don't really want to do it. And so the three managers said, well, how about if we did it for you? They said, well, okay, fine. So these guys spent about 9 man days figuring out how to do the electronic auction, how to write it all up, and made it so massively transparent as far as all the hidden costs involved and what was really involved in all the hair and taking care of this thing, that when they put it out to bid, the customer thought there'd be 8 companies who would bid on it. Actually, only 3 people bid, and one guy dropped out at 38% margin, the other fellow dropped out at 28% margin. Now remember, my client actually had 2 warehouses that, were, although they're far away from the plant, they were closer than anybody else's, and they were in the business. They had a best sort of geographic strategic fit, if you will, logistical fit. So The client then said, "Well, look, I mean, you were at 18. Everybody else has dropped out. Would you please consider taking this contract as is at 28%?" So that, well, 10% more of 2.5 million is under 250,000. That takes a loss of 150,000 to a profit of 100,000. So they said, sure. And instead of 3 years, how about if we make it 5 years? The guy said, fine. So they locked in 5 years of $250,000 profit delta improvement with 9 man days. So the return on their invested time was astronomical. The morals of the story are these guys really needed supply chain math up front to bid the deal profitably or fold. I mean, why are they even doing it losing money? You know, they're solving a problem. Don't get into the problem to begin with. Um, Second point is when a buyer acts like a bully or irrational, doesn't really have any excuses, or says I don't even care how the company does, they're hiding something. So how do we sort of smoke out what the real agenda is? And then the third point is if you're really confident in your supply chain math and you're really confident in your plan B, you can negotiate well. But if you really can't conceive of a way of redeploying or laying off slack because you don't know what your supply chain math is, then you're sort of thinking, well, I need every margin dollar I have because all I know is sales and margin dollar, and I assume all my costs are fixed. And so uh, these kinds of problems, become less so with line item profit analytics insight. End of the story. Thank you.